This is Eric Muathe from Muathe.com with another quick educational video for November 11th, 2020. Let's take a look here. We can see that there are some stocks, some sector of the market that gapped up this week, some of them 30%. And you can see, for example, Delta Airlines was up huge on Monday, gapped up, and still showing a gap. Now, in this video, we're going to take a look at one simple single aspect that all of these stocks have encountered since the gap up from Monday. And this is simple. As an educational video, we can see all of these have been summarily rejected at the RSI 69.1 threshold. Not only have they been rejected, this rejection has come with uniform action, which is the key. It means that the market is telling us that as long as that daily closing high from a few days ago remains in effect, that this rejection is going to hold and is going to maintain prices either sideways from here or down. And again, you can see this very simple example here, RSI 69.1 uniform activity rejection. Now, before I leave that comment there, also notice RSI 69.1 uniform activity rejection here for the highs there. RSI 69.1 uniform activity rejection for the short-term highs there. Something else, this current pullback in pretty much all of these examples that I show here, you can see that there's a backtest failure that also came in play. It also coincides with most of these instruments in this video showing topside resistance, as can be seen by taking a look at the recent RSI highs. Again, all of this showing resistance exactly at the close and at the highs of the RSI for this week and this month. Now, the following stocks have the same look. CZR, again, similar look, RSI 69.1 uniform activity rejection. You got topside resistance on the daily RSI coming in play. It also coincides with RSI backtest failure. Again, all of these are synchronized. This is just overkill. Just trying to illustrate this point. One of the aspects that I talk about a lot. Take a look at CUK. Again, RSI 69.1 rejection, just like we saw here. What I was saying is they need to break out above the recent daily closing high as a minimum requirement. If they're going to see higher prices, they need to clear the recent daily closing high. It also means they need to clear this RSI 69.1 resistance area. And again, as I've mentioned, it also happens to coincide with RSI topside resistance line. So it needs to clear that level. And don't forget that backtest also came in play. This backtest line connecting recent RSI lows here and here, which is where we get the line, and now turning into resistance. So the price pullback from a couple days ago only makes sense and is consistent with what we are observing here. Let's move on. Take a look at NCLH. Same thing here. I'm just going to pause the video, see whether you can capture what I'm talking about here. We got RSI 69.1 uniform activity. We got backtest line. There is a 69.1 rejection. There is a RSI backtest line. Actually, yeah, can do it that way. You got topside resistance. Not the best, but to be consistent with the other charts we've seen here, we can draw it as such. And again, what we see here is if the market is going to push this above the current range for the week, it needs to push these instruments above the recent daily closing high so that these instruments as a group or individual stocks can have a chance of moving high, which means they need to hold above all these resistance lines to the upside. Take a look at another instrument here, and it is RCL. And just kind of going to repeat again, topside resistance came in play. You have your RSI backtest that came in play. Keep in mind this backtest captures this break of that high, resistance with uniform activity here of that high. Again, resistance with uniform activity was a backtest failure on that red line. And of course, this RSI 69.1 uniform activity rejection. The uniform activity is the unique aspect of understanding this concept. And again, here we see the only way these instruments can move higher, or this individual instrument can move higher, is it needs to clear, move above these lines of resistance, move above 69.1, and move above the recent daily closing high. In other words, you need a powerful breakout to change the picture, to change the odds, and to help this market move higher. Otherwise, net, as long as those resistances are in play, we are looking at instruments that are, for the most part, suggesting that their next trend is sideways to down. Let's take a look at one more. Let's play with one more. PLAW, and again here we see RSI 69.1 uniform activity rejection. We can see an RSI backtest failure. Oops, let's change that a little bit. So RSI backtest failure, and again we see here a good example of uniform activity, a break of the high there, uniform activity above the line, back below it for that top side resistance, and again backtest failure there. And then we have top side RSI resistance. We can even draw it going back that way. Again, all this is pretty much repeating what I've been saying all along in this video. Again, we see why breakouts are important. You need to clear the recent daily closing high. You need to clear above this area. You need to push above RSI 69.1. Otherwise, for now, as I've been stating, things are suggesting that these stocks, these instruments, are either now in another downwards, sideways spiral, or ultimately down below. Purely educational. Eric Muathe, Muathe.com. Love, light, love. Namaste. I'm out. Mwah. Are you still there? Mwah.